редакції університету. Приємно вас всіх бачити. Свої питання, будь ласка, пишіть в чат. Відповідь на них отримаєте по завершенню презентаційної частини. Також, якщо хтось хоче поспілкуватися наживо, теж пишіть про це, і ми вас під'єднаємо. І я передаю слово Патріції, нашому спікеру, and you can go on.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining today. My name is Patricia, or in English, Patricia, whatever is easier for you. And I work at the international office of the University of Regensburg, and I consult degree-seeking students mostly, so students who want to do their whole degree program at the University of Regensburg. First of all, to give you a bit of an impression of the university, I'd like to show you a short video of about 5 minutes, so you can have some impressions of the university. And then I'll talk about Regensburg as a city, and then, of course, about the university and how you could apply. So first of all, I'd like to begin with the video, and I hope all of you can see the video and hear everything. If not, please tell me in the chat. And in general, if you have any questions, please just put them in the Q&A tab, and then we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Okay, thank you all for watching the video together with me. Then I'll go on with the presentation for now. So, as I said, first, I would like to introduce Regensburg as a city shortly and briefly because the city is really beautiful and it's also very conveniently located, very in the heart of Europe. So, here you can see Germany highlighted in green, and then here, where is the orange arrow about there is Regensburg. So, it is in the southeast of Germany, and it is very close to cities like Prague, Vienna, but also to Berlin and other European countries. So it's not only a very good city for studying, but also if you plan to travel around a bit, it is quite a convenient location. And it's also not too far from Munich Airport. So yeah, just so you know that as well. Generally, Regensburg is a very old city already. It has over 2,000 years of history, and our old town also is part of the UNESCO World Heritage since 2006 already. We have a lot of medieval architecture dating back to Roman architecture, but of course also modern buildings. And Regensburg is the fourth largest city in Bavaria. So the biggest one is Munich, then comes Nuremberg and Augsburg, and then Regensburg. But still, although the city is not huge, it has a lot to offer, especially for young people, because Regensburg has around 160,000 inhabitants, but around 40,000 of them, so 1/4, are students. So the city is very young, very vibrant. We have a lot of bars, restaurants, festivals, and so on. And it also is a very good economic center because multinational companies, for example, BMW, the car company most of you will know, I guess, Siemens and Continental, for example, they're all here located in Regensburg. So you also have very good career prospects if you decide to come here. In general, in Regensburg, there are many ways to spend your free time. So we have quite a lot of nature. You can go hiking. We have the Danube right through the city. You can go biking, but also students will meet around the old town center, as you can see in the top right picture. In the summer every evening and just sit down, get some drinks to go, sit together. So the city overall is very lively. Also, we have a lot of festivals. For example, as you can see in the lower left picture, you can see a picture of the Duld, which is, most of you will probably know the Oktoberfest, and it's very similar to that, just a bit smaller. We have this twice a year as well, with just the big party tents where you can drink beer, just rides, and so on. So just next to studying, there's a lot to do in Regensburg in general. But now let's come to the university. So you've seen some impressions of what our campus looks like in the video already. In general, the university was founded in 1962 already. It is quite old, but still the buildings are quite modern. The infrastructure is very good, and especially our university hospital is very modern. At the moment, we have 12 faculties. You can see them all listed on the left. We have a faculty of Catholic theology, of law, of business, medicine, informatics. This is the newest edition. It was just opened, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. Then of philosophy, human science, language, literature, and culture, mathematics, physics, biology, and chemistry. So you can see we have quite a wide range of different degree programs we offer. And we offer at the moment around, I think, 170 degree courses. So always between 150 and 200. Usually every year, every 2 years, some programs are added. And at the moment, we have 37 different Bachelor of Arts programs, 19 Bachelor of Science programs, also 4 Bachelor of Education programs, 33 Master of Arts, and 21 Master of Science programs. And then something that is a bit special about the German university system, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, we also have state examination programs. So you can either do a bachelor and master combination, or you can do a state examination program, for example, in medicine or law. And a state examination program is usually quite long, so longer than just a bachelor degree. Usually it's like 8 to 12 semesters. and then you finish not with a bachelor thesis or a master's thesis, but with a state examination that is usually the same for the whole state. And also, if you're quite advanced in your studies already, we also offer doctoral studies in like all areas. At the moment, here at university, we have around 21,000 students, and 1,600 of them, roughly, are international students. We also have quite a lot of global cooperations. At the moment, it is 310. As you can see, most of them are located in Europe, which is also quite convenient because then you could apply for Erasmus funding. We also have 28 partners in Asia, including India, but also, for example, in the Philippines, Japan, and Korea. 22 partner universities in the US and Canada, 17 partners in Latin America, also including Mexico, 6 universities in Oceania, and 2 in Africa. And before the corona pandemic, around 650 students were going abroad each year, and 450 students were coming to us. And now I think with this winter semester, we are back to the pre-pandemic numbers roughly. So there's quite a lot of exchange going on. And if you do not decide to do your whole degree program in Regensburg, possibly you could also come here as an exchange student. Doesn't matter if you come here as an exchange student or for your whole program, the international office is always there to help you. So if you have any questions about the application while you're studying, we're always there as your first point of contact and to offer you advice throughout your stay. Doesn't matter if it's about financing, if you have legal problems, issues about your accommodation, just general things, intercultural problems. We are always there for you to offer you advice. And even if we cannot help you personally, we'll try to find a person who can help you and refer you to them. Also, if you come to Regensburg as a degree-seeking or exchange student, there will be at least a 1-week-long orientation program for you where everything will be explained to you from formalities, German culture. There will be networking events like welcome brunches and dinners where you can get to know other students. Also, German students, we offer weekly coffee hours where we connect German and international students, for example, but also bigger events and trips throughout the whole semester. For example, to Berlin, but also to other German cities, to visit Christmas markets together in December, these kind of things. So there are many opportunities to get to know other students, not just at university, but in Regensburg in general. We also have the International Student Network, which also offers like weekly trips and events. So you will not get lonely if you come to Regensburg. So if you just want to decide if you want to come here as an exchange student or a degree-seeking student, or if at all. So if you want to come here as an exchange student, at the moment we only have one partner university in Ukraine, which is the Kiev Taras Shevchenko University. So if you were to study there, then you could apply to come to Regensburg as an exchange student for 1 or 2 semesters. But of course, you could also come here as a degree-seeking student to do your whole bachelor, master, or PhD program here. So about the language of instruction. So I've seen that there also is a question about this in the chat, so we'll answer this now. Some programs are offered in German and some are offered in English. But at the moment, all of our bachelor's and state examination degrees are in German. So if you do not speak any German and you want to study in English, we'd only offer master's degrees. In this case, in the next slide, I'll show you all the current English master's programs that we offer. And in case you want to come here as a PhD student, then the language would depend on your supervisor. So then you'd need to reach out to professors, ask them if they would supervise your research. And then depending on the languages they speak, you could do the PhD program in either language. Here you can see a list of the programs. that we offer in English at the moment. So they're located at different faculties. At the Faculty for Humanities, for example, we offer in English the MA in British Studies, English Linguistics, European American Studies, and European Studies. As for the Faculty of Chemistry, we offer a Master's of Science in Advanced Synthesis and Catalysis. We also offer a Master's in Chemistry, and this is an English-German combination. So you'd need to have German and English knowledge for the Master in Chemistry. Then, as for the Faculty of Biology, we offer an English Master program in Biology, as well as one in Ecology, Evolution, and Conservation. As for the Faculty of Mathematics, we have a program called Algend, which is quite special because it is a double degree program. So you'd do 1 year in Regensburg and 1 year at another European partner university. And then we just have a regular program in mathematics as well. As for the Faculty of Physics, we have a Master of Science in Computational Science, which is not to be confused with computer science. It is slightly different, slightly more physical, and a regular Master's of Science in Physics. As for the Business Faculty, we also offer a program in Economics. And as for the Law Faculty, we also offer an LLM program in German and Comparative Law. So if you want to come here and only speak English, then maybe for a bachelor's program, coming here as an exchange student is preferable, because we also offer a lot of English taught courses for exchange students. So if you want to come here as an exchange student and want to take courses in German, then you could do so. Then you'd need at least a German B2 level, but you could also just take English courses if you have an English B2 level already. So if all of this sounds kind of interesting to you and you're interested in how to apply, here is some general information. But of course, you can always reach out to us, send us an email, or call us. If you have any questions about your specific case, you will find our email address at the end of the presentation. So in general, students who do not have EU nationalities, so for example, Ukraine, you'd need to apply centrally via our registrar's office. And the deadline for summer semester always is January 15th, and for a winter semester, July 15th. There are some special cases if you'd have an EU nationality and you'd want to apply for medicine, for example, then the application process is a bit different, but generally you'd need to apply through our own application portal. The application is completely online. You do not need to send us any documents, and it's free of charge for you as well. Then generally, if you want to study at the University of Regensburg, there's two things you basically need. And one of them is university entrance qualification. The other is the necessary German knowledge, depending on which program you apply for. So if you want to apply for a bachelor's or state examination program, then you'd need to have an university entrance qualification. And as is the case for Ukraine, if you've went to school for 11 years, your school leaving certificate by itself would unfortunately not be enough to study at a German university. Then you'd need to visit the so-called Studienkolleg or preparatory college first. Or you could just complete 1 year at a Ukrainian university. And then this combination of 1 year at a Ukrainian university, as well as the school leaving certificate, would give you a university entrance qualification for the same subject that you've studied in Ukraine. If you've already completed a bachelor's degree, for example, you usually can apply for just any program, but this will be checked when you send us your application documents. And then next to the university entrance qualification, you need the sufficient German knowledge. So if you want to apply for a bachelor or state examination degree, then you usually need to prove a German B2 level. And then if in case you were accepted, you need to show a proof of about a Z1 level. Usually there is a German test called DSH, and usually you need a DSH2 or an equivalent certificate. An equivalent would, for example, be the DSD2 C1 certificate or a test staff certificate with at least 4 points in all categories. There is only one exception if you want to study medicine or dentistry, German knowledge, and also law. German knowledge needs to be higher. In this case, you'd need a DSH3, which would be equivalent, for example, to a test stuff with at least 5 points in each category. And you'd also need that when applying already. So usually you need a B2 certificate when you apply, but if you want to apply for medicine or dentistry, you'd need to have the DSH3 or equivalent, which is a very good C1 level usually, already at time of application. If your German level is not good enough, you generally have the possibility to apply for preparatory German courses. For this, you need to have at least a good B1 German level already. And you also already need to have the university entrance qualification. Otherwise, you cannot apply to the university, not even for the German classes. And if you want to study medicine, unfortunately, because there are so many applicants for this program, you could not participate in the preparatory German course. You'd need to have the DSH3 or equivalent, which is a good C1 level already when applying, and you could not apply for the German courses. So the German courses are just an option if you want to study another program that is not medicine or dentistry. I know all of this is a bit much and a bit confusing. So in case you have any questions, please just put them in the Q&A function, or if you need individual consultation, then just send us an email later. So that is for the bachelor's and state examination programs. Now on to the master and PhD programs. So master programs usually have very individual deadlines, and some of them even in May already, although you just want to start studying in winter semester, which begins in October. So they're very all over the place because the faculties can decide for themselves until when they accept applications. So if there is a program you're interested in specifically, you just need to check the website and then you can find the application deadline. But there is no general deadline for master's programs as there was for bachelor programs. In this case, you don't apply centrally via the registrar's office, but you apply directly at the departments because each department wants different kinds of documents from you, different proofs of your education. So this is a bit more individual, and it's hard to generalize what you'd need for a master's program application. This is very individual, so you need to check the department's website. But 3 documents are always needed when you apply for a master's program, and that is your school leaving certificate, your bachelor's degree, and usually a transcript of grades from the bachelor's degree, so they can get an idea of the kind of courses that you took and of your qualification. Also, we have, as I told you, some programs taught in English. Then you'd need a proof of English when you apply. Again, it depends on the program what kind of proof you need. Some programs want a specific test like the IELTS. Others just accept any kind of English proof. This is just whatever the departments decided that they want to have. But there are also a lot of master's program taught in German. And then again, you'd need at least a German B2 level when you apply, and then later on, usually a DSH2 or an equivalent. Also, then you could still, if you want to study a master's degree, you also have the possibility, of course, to apply for the preparatory German courses first, if you already have a good B1 German level. Also, often it is a requirement that if you do a degree program in English, that you acquire some very, very basic German knowledge. You do not need to have the German knowledge when you apply, but usually they want you to do like an A1 German course while you do the degree program, just so it is easier for you as well to find your way around university and just for your daily life here in Germany. If you'd rather come here for just 1 or 2 semesters and not do your whole degree in Regensburg, you'd also have the possibility to become an exchange student. So then the application process would be different. You would not apply directly at the University of Regensburg, but then you'd apply at your Ukrainian home university, and then they would need to select and nominate you, and only then you could apply online to be an exchange student at the University of Regensburg. Usually the deadlines for the nomination by your home university are May 15th for winter semester and December 15th for summer semester. As I already mentioned earlier, if you want to do courses in German, you'd need a German B2 level. And as for English courses, you'd need an English B2 level. Except for business, then you'd even need a C1 English level. Also, I told you we offer orientation programs. And if you are an exchange student, there's a very special orientation program as well. It's called the ILC, or Intensive Language Course. And if you were interested in doing it, you'd come to Regensburg 5 weeks before the start of the semester. And then you could take part in intensive German classes that are always usually in the mornings and at noon. And then in the afternoon, we usually go on trips, show you presentations, help you with your formalities, go to different cities, or also go around in Regensburg, do pub crawls, do welcome evenings, just some networking events as well. So if you were interested in bettering your German and getting to know the city better, you could also take part in the ILC if you are an exchange student. So how much money would you need roughly per month if you would plan to come to Regensburg? In general, of course, it really depends on where you live and where you want to live. So rent usually is between 300 and 500 euros per month if you live in a dormitory room or in a shared apartment. If you would plan to rent a whole apartment by yourself, depending on the size, it definitely would be more expensive. Then I'd usually say like 600 to 900 euros a month, depending on the size. So for students, we definitely recommend you to apply for a dormitory room or look for a room in a shared apartment. What is very good news is that there are no tuition fees for students in Regensburg. Does not matter if you're German or international. You only need to pay the semester fee, which is currently around 180 euros per semester, so for half a year. And it includes a public transport ticket around town. So if you would like to use the bus in Regensburg to go to university or just somewhere else, you wouldn't need to buy a bus ticket. It would all be included in your student ID card. And even if you want to use the train to go to some nearby cities, it would also be included. So that is very good for you because there are no tuition fees and you'd have a very cheap public transport ticket included in the semester fee. Additionally, we also have a so-called TV tax. I don't know if something similar exists in Ukraine. I know that this is the case for some European countries. So you'd need to pay around 18 euros per month, usually per apartment, of a so-called TV tax, which is paid so that you could use TV, radio shows, anything that is provided by the state. That is with media. Also, they also upload videos on YouTube and so on. So it is just to finance that. And doesn't matter if you're an exchange student or you live here permanently, all residents need to pay the TV tax, but fortunately it's not super expensive. And then another important thing is health insurance. So there are two types of health insurance in Germany: private health insurance and statutory health insurance. Depending on your own facts, you will qualify for one or the other. If possible, we would always recommend you to take out statutory health insurance. And if you're younger than 30 years, then this is possible in almost all cases. If you're older than 30 years, you'd need to take out private health insurance then, which works a bit differently and can be cheaper, but also it usually covers less. So if possible, we'd recommend you to take out statutory health insurance, which is about 120 euros a month. And it is very important. You definitely need to have health insurance. Otherwise, you cannot be enrolled at a German university. So if you were to apply at the University of Regensburg and be accepted, and then you want to enroll, you definitely need to have health insurance by then or take it out then, because otherwise it wouldn't be possible to enroll and study. If you add all of these costs together, like rent, food, things you need for university, health insurance, and so on, you'd come to an average living cost of around 1,000 euros per month. Of course, depending on where you live, the amount of money you spend on food and rent, this can be lower, this can be higher. It kind of depends, but just expecting to need about 1,000 euros a month is a good benchmark. Of course, this isn't super cheap. So Regensburg is not as expensive as Munich, but of course, other smaller cities are cheaper. So how could you finance all of this? So of course, if you come here, you could start working, do a part-time job. This is how most students finance their studies, German and international. But you could also apply for scholarships. And for this, I definitely recommend you to look at the DAAD scholarship database. There you can just enter data like your nationality, what you want to study, and so on. And then it will show you all the scholarships that you could apply for. And that's important because in Germany, universities usually don't give out scholarships, but just independent foundations and organizations. So the University of Regensburg does not have a scholarship program you could just apply for. There are some programs that are organized by the university, but usually you would just qualify for one as an international student. So we definitely recommend you, if you need help financing your studies, to look at the DAAD scholarship database. And depending on how you come to Germany, so if you'd come here as a student, then you would not qualify for so-called BAföG, but we have also some Ukrainian students who came here as refugees, and then this would be an exceptional case which could qualify for so-called BAföG, which is the way most German students finance their studies. It is a monthly scholarship that can be as high as around 900 euro, but it depends on your own personal funds. And then, of course, ByHost and DAAD are good websites that you could check out if you're interested in scholarships in general. That would be the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. So if you have any questions, here you can see our email addresses. The upper one, international.degree-student@ur.de, would be the right one if you'd want to come to Regensburg for your whole degree program. And if you'd rather think of coming here as an exchange student, then international.exchange-student@ur.de would be the right email address to contact. But no matter who you contact, we'll always redirect your emails to the right contact person. You could also scan this QR code if you want to, then you'll be redirected to our website. And then without further ado, I'd say thank you very much for listening, and then I jump right into the questions. Okay, so the first question I'll quickly show, but then skip because I've already answered it in the presentation. So Irina asked where you could see programs, which programs are in English and which are in German. In general, if you Google the degree program and the name of the program and add Uni Regensburg, you'll find an overview of the degree program, and there it is also written if it's taught in English or in German. But as I already showed you the list of the programs that are taught in English, I think you already have quite a good overview. Then the next question. With which institutes or program at KNU does UR work on exchange programs? This question I actually cannot answer for you because I am not in charge of exchange students and our partner programs, but I'm in charge of the degree-seeking students. So I'm not quite sure. I know that this is the only university we have a partner program with, but I do not know if it's for all institutes and departments. So for this question, I'd like you, I think it would be best if you contact my colleague at the email address I just showed you, or just send me the email and I would redirect it to her, but that I'm actually not sure of. Next question. Can a Ukrainian national enroll directly on first course of studies with school leaving certificate issued in Poland? Yes. So if you'd have a Polish high school certificate or Polish school leaving certificate, then chances are you could directly enroll for all possible degree programs we offer. As for most modern school leaving certificates from the European Union or countries of the European Union, you usually have a general university entrance qualification, and with this you can directly apply at the university. But if you want to check for yourself, there's a website where you can enter the country where you did your school, and then it will show you if you have university entrance qualification. It is called ANABIN. I'll write it in the chat for all of you so you can see. ANABIN. And if you just Google it, then you'll find a website, and there you can see, just enter the country, and then you can see if you'd have general university entrance qualification or not. Another question is, does the University of Regensburg collaborate with Bavarian research institutions for interdisciplinary research in biotechnology and agriculture? What are the prospects of graduate school with similar studies for a student with a Ukrainian diploma? And what are the specifics of getting into graduate school? So general at the University of Regensburg, we don't have like an undergrad school and a grad school. We just have the different departments, and the bachelor's and master's programs are all coordinated at the same department. So you'd need to just apply the department for the relevant master's program. And the specifics depend on the program you're interested in. So I could not tell you the specifics of each possible program because they are different for each master's program, and the faculties and departments decide for themselves what is most important for them for a master's degree application. So for this, you'd need to send me an email with the program you're interested in, and then I could send you a list with the documents you'd need to apply for the program. In general, as for biotechnology, we are, I'd say, quite well connected because we have a very good department of biology. But as for agriculture, we do not have any courses or classes in this regard. So research also is quite dim when it comes to agriculture. But for biotechnology, as far as I know, it is quite good. But I'm not into the research. I'm not a part of the research departments. So we definitely, if you want a clearer or better answer to this, we'd need to reach out to the biotechnology department. But I can tell you there was more research for biotechnology than for agriculture, definitely. So another question, if there are scholarships available. So as I said, if you are interested in scholarships, please check out the DAAD scholarship database. I think this would be the easiest. Okay. I think this would be the easiest because this would be the most tailored to you, and it would give you the best overview of scholarships. Please also note, especially if you want to apply for a master's degree, that many scholarships need you to apply for them before you actually start the master's degree. So for bachelor's degrees, this is usually not a problem. But if you were to apply for a master's degree at Uni Regensburg, then please, before applying or before starting your studies, please check out the scholarships already, because some of them, mostly the ones that will fund your whole program, you need to apply for it before the program actually begins. Despite that, the best scholarship program that we have at the University of Regensburg, where you could apply directly at the university, is the so-called Deutschlandstipendium, or Germany scholarship in English. And this is open to students no matter their nationality. But this only gives you around 300 euros a month, which is not bad, but also not enough to finance your whole studies. So this would be the one I'd recommend you. But in general, look at the DAAD scholarship database, because as I said, German universities usually don't give out scholarships. Another question. Students who want to study medicine cannot count on a spot in the German courses at university. If I have completed 6 semesters in a medical program at a Ukrainian university, which semester could I be admitted to at your university? Sorry. So this we do not decide actually. If you've already studied for 6 semesters at a Ukrainian university, you'd need to contact a central authority in Bavaria. And then you'd need to send your transcript of records and course descriptions and so on to them. And they will tell you how many semesters in the German system this would translate. And then with this sheet of paper that I'd give you, the document, you could then apply for a higher semester in our online application portal. But I cannot tell you how many semesters that would be because we are not the ones deciding that. Usually, I think from our experience, if someone has studied around 6 semesters abroad, it usually translates to like around 3 semesters in Germany. But also it is quite hard to get a seat in the medicine program in higher semesters as well, because there will only be 3 spots if students have dropped out. So the chances to be admitted are not super high, I must say. And also, yes, as you already said in a question, if you want to study medicine, you could not take part in the German courses at our university, at least not in the preparatory ones. So if you already have a very good C1 level and you'd be admitted and enroll, then next to your degree medicine courses, you could also take part in voluntary German courses on the side if you still want to better your German, but you could not take part in the preparatory courses that you just need a B1 German level for. Okay, then the next question. Do certain university departments help students who plan to start their own startup or business during their studies, if any? Yes, and this is actually not part of the departments. We have a startup business center at the university where you can go for free consultations and they will help you with setting up a business. So you can just go there, pitch them your idea, and then they will tell you what is good about the idea, what is not, give you possibilities to finance it, just a lot of information sources, and so on. And also in Bavaria in general, there's quite a lot of financial support if you want to open a business or a startup. So I think for this, you definitely be covered here at the University of Regensburg. Another question, tell us about the opportunities for students from Ukraine in postgraduate education programs. And are there any scholarships or help with this for this category? So again, I'm unfortunately not the best person to ask about this because I have colleagues who just take care of postgraduate and PhD programs. All I can tell you is that in general, you just need to apply for them by yourself. So you can always contact my colleagues and they will help you. But you'd need to look for a professor whose research you're interested in and who you'd want as a supervisor. And then my colleagues from the Welcome Center of the International Office will help you with the application process. And as for scholarships, again, there are no scholarships from the university, but there are quite a few scholarships available in general provided by other institutions. So I'd recommend you to check out the DAAD scholarship database. It's relevant for bachelor, master, and PhD programs. And I also know that it depends on the kind of PhD you're doing. Some PhD students come here to only do research. Others also teach on the side here at university. And in this case, of course, you'd also be paid. Another question is if the university provides support in preparing for international exams or certifications in the field of information technologies. So I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to with international exams or certifications. So we have our faculty of informatics and data science, and they, I think, could offer you help. We also have an additional qualification that is open to all students, no matter their degree program in IT. which also is a good starting point. But I'm not sure which exams exactly you're referring to. I've never heard of this case. But I think it would, in this case, be best to ask directly if you were to study at the Department of Informatics or something related, to directly ask your professors if it is possible. The next question is, can I apply for studying at university if I am studying at Ukrainian university at first year? Yes. So if you want to apply directly to a German university, you'd need to not only have completed the 11 years of school in Ukraine, but also you need to have completed 1 year of studying at a university so that you can apply at the University of Regensburg for the same or a similar program as you have studied in Ukraine. So it's not only that you can, but kind of that you must study in the Ukrainian university for a year first, and then you could directly apply to the German university. And if you wouldn't want to study at a Ukrainian university for a year first, then with just your school leaving certificate from Ukraine, you couldn't apply at a German university directly. Then you must visit a preparatory college first for a year to gain this university entrance qualification. Next question is how long the application process typically takes. So this again depends on if you want to apply for a bachelor or master program. As for bachelor and state examination programs, as I said, the deadline for summer semester is January 15th, and for winter semester, July 15th. And then the actual semester and the lectures start in April for summer semester and in October for winter semester. So usually you need to apply until mid-January or mid-July. Then it takes around 3 to 4 weeks until all of the applications are checked by our registrar's office. And then they will tell you if you have been admitted or not. Usually the application process is faster for summer semester because there are less applications, and it can take a bit longer for a winter semester. But it also depends if you have handed in all of the correct documents right from the beginning, or if they need to request you to hand in more. But usually I'd say if you apply until July 15th, like mid to late August, you get an answer if you have been accepted or not. And then the enrollment process starts. So you can enroll starting the end of August or the beginning of September. If you apply for a master's program, of course, it can be different because then the application deadline is different for each program. So I cannot tell you how long it takes exactly, but I've done my master's at University of Regensburg as well. And for me, I had to apply, I think, until May. And then I had an answer if I was admitted or not in late June to early July. And then I could enroll, and the program then started, or the actual lecture started in October. So it really depends on the program you apply for. Another question is if there are any language courses offered to help prepare for your studies. So I don't know if you refer to German courses or other language courses. We also in general offer many different language courses, from Turkish, Arabic, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, whatever. Also, of course, English courses that are open to students from all faculties and that you can just do next to your normal courses. But then, as I said, there are also German courses. So there are two types of German courses: the one that you can just do throughout the semester next to your studies. And then there are the ones that are preparatory German courses that I mentioned earlier, that if you want to do a whole degree program at the University of Regensburg, but you do not have at least a B2 level yet, but a good B1 level, then you could apply for the preparatory German courses, and then usually students take part in them for 1 or 2 semesters until they have the DSH exam. And then usually when they get good results, they can start their degree studies right afterwards. Yeah, so that's for the language courses. Next question is, how is the healthcare system organized for foreign students in Regensburg? So as I said, if you study at university, you're required to have health insurance. Either you can have statutory health insurance, which we'd recommend if it's possible, or a private health insurance. And how the healthcare system works kind of depends if you have statutory or private insurance. So with statutory insurance, you just get your health insurance card. And then when you go to the doctor, you just give them the card and you don't need to pay for anything. Like usually most things are covered. If not, they would tell you, the doctors directly. And this is the easiest. But if you have private health insurance, then it's a bit different because then you usually need to pay upfront and then the health insurance will give you the money back afterwards. But in general, I know health insurance is a quite complicated topic and we are in close contact with health insurances in Regensburg. So if you have any more specific questions about this or any problems, you could always approach us and then we'll try to help you. Next question, are there free language courses in the university? So as I already said, there are many language courses we offer. They are not free, but extremely cheap. So usually they are around 50 euros for a whole semester if you just do them next to your studies. And we also have all of the books available at university, so you wouldn't need to buy them. But if you do the preparatory German course, it is an intensive German course, and for the whole semester, it would be around 500 euros, which seems like a lot. It is a lot of money. But if you look at prices at language schools for intensive German classes every day for like 4 or 5 hours, they'd be much, much, much more expensive. Another question about financial support and scholarships. So as I already said for the previous questions, for scholarships, please look at the scholarship databases that are linked in the presentation because the university usually does not give out scholarships. And as for financial support, many students work part-time jobs or just mini jobs, for example, as waiters, delivery service at university or in administration somewhere to cover the costs of their studies. Another question about what is the balance between theoretical and practical learning. This is really, really depending on the program you study. So especially for scientific programs in the natural sciences, you will have a lot of practical courses with experiments and doing research and so on. And as for the other programs, often an internship is mandatory or at least supported. But it really depends on the program. But I'd say in general at university, theory often is more in focus. And then, of course, practical learning is always appreciated and supported, but not always mandatory. What are the best areas in the city of Regensburg for student accommodation in terms of cost and availability of transport? So it really depends on your personal preference. Many people like to live directly in the old town because then everything is kind of close by, all the restaurants and so on. But a city part called Komfmühl is, I think, the best. It's more of a quiet residential part that is close to the university. But in general, I think in Regensburg, to be honest, there are many new students and it's not very easy to find a new apartment. So I think it's hard to be picky about the location. Of course, this depends on your budget, but for most cheap places and student dormitories, they're scattered all around town. But it's best to not be super picky in terms of the location in Regensburg. Are there any alumni networks or career services available to help with job placement? Yes, we actually have a program called iSteps that my colleague Joanna is coordinating, and it's supposed to help international university alumni to find into the German employment market better. And we have a lot of workshops and specific German courses that are targeted at international students who want to work in Germany. We have workshops to prepare you for applications, application talks, and so on. And we also have an alumni network on LinkedIn that is currently built at the moment. And we have a lot of career fairs at the university and also a career service department right at the university that helps you with finding internships and where job opportunities are published as well. How is support for foreign students organized during the adaptation to studying at the university? So support is mostly offered by the university with the orientation programs and a very, very big information collection. So many things regarding bureaucracy you'd need to do by yourself, and we will give you as many checklists and lists as we can with all the information you need to do this. For example, if you need to go to the foreigners registration office, we'll give you a list of all of the documents you need. We'll help you fill them in together, and so on. And we do this for most things. So we have an online course for new students where you can find all information on employment law, finding a job, financing your studies, all these formalities, finding a place to live, and so on. And then if you have specific problems, you can always come in to the university to our office hours and ask your questions. And we also have a buddy program for international degree seeking students. So when you arrive, you will not be by yourself. You will have the orientation program and your own senior buddy who is an experienced student, preferably from the same study program or a similar program that you study. Is it possible to transfer from a Ukrainian university without losing academic credits for completed similar courses? And what is the process of this transfer? So this depends on the program you have studied and the program you want to transfer to. As I said, if you have studied medicine or dentistry or pharmacy, it is not the university doing the recognition process, but a central authority in Germany. So we have no insights on how their recognition processes work. But if you apply for another program that is not medicine, dentistry, or pharmacy, then you need to apply for the first semester. And after being enrolled, you need to go to the examination office and show them all of the courses you have completed abroad. And then they will decide which of the courses are similar enough so they can substitute courses at Uni Regensburg. But every examination office does it by themselves. So I cannot tell you how successful you'd be. But usually not every single course can be recognized, but quite some. But I don't think it would be possible to transfer without losing academic credits. But as I said, I'm not a person doing the recognition, so I could not give you a definitive answer on this. What is the process of choosing optional courses in the psychology program, and is it possible to combine several areas? So in general, in our psychology program, most areas are covered, I'd say, from diagnostics, if you want to do psychotherapy later on, to social psychology, evolutional psychology, biology, and so on. So I think quite you need to do courses in many different parts of psychology anyways. And then you can always choose the area that interests you most and do more courses in this area. So you wouldn't need to just choose one psychology area. You would have to do courses in many of them anyways. And then you also always have the option to do optional courses. It's in German, it's usually called Wahlpflichtbereich or Wahlbereich, which just means like optional area, where you could do courses from psychology that specifically interest you, but also from other degree programs. And the last question, at what age can I enter university? If I'm 21 years old, can I enter the first year? So the year you enter is not related to your age. So no matter how old you are, there is actually no age limit to study at university. If you are underage, so below 18, you would need a consent from your parents. But otherwise, there's no age limit, and you would just apply for the degree program. And if you have no experience in the degree program yet, you just apply for the first semester. And no matter your age, you would just, if you're accepted, start in the first semester, so first year then. Okay, I think that is it for all of the questions. If there is not anything else, thank you all very much for listening. It worked out perfectly time-wise as well. And maybe we will see each other again in Regensburg or be in contact via email. Thank you all very much. I'll stay in the chat for a couple more minutes if in case anything else comes up, but you're also free to move on to the next presentation, of course.